everybody, and welcome to Claymore Division. I'm Brad Harmer.
And I'm Ömer.
Your hair looks mad today.
It's a bit...
Yeah, you're looking a bit bouffant there.
Boof. You can't see where my beard and hair...
Okay, we did something a bit different for you this time. We've got a wargame or consim review for you. We have been reviewing Ottoman Sunset, the Great War in the East, 1914 to 1918, from Victory Point Games. This is the first consim we've had a chance to review on Claymore, and it's certainly different from a lot of other war games.
I've not anything. It draws the line between war game and board game really quite well. I'm just sorry, the map is down here.
Which we can hold that up.
Map of our game.
Just pan that forward for people. Yeah, as you can see, it's not hex or counter driven like a traditional war game would be. You've got Constantinople up here, and these numbers out here are all the advancing fronts trying to... What are you doing?
Appearing from out the top of Turkey. Like
again,
I did 26 years ago.
And the idea is that it's a resource management game.
Yep.
Really, you've got several fronts advancing on Constantinople, and you've got to manage the battles taking place to try and push the enemy back from taking Constantinople. But there are other mini-games in place as well. A lot of battles actually take place off the map, but it is your job to allocate finances, troops and resources to increase those battles. That's ultimately how the game is won, through the ally with Austro-Hungary and Germany.
It's a lot more and less complex than it seems. Just thinking about it, going, actually when he's saying that, it seems a lot more complex than anything that's actually on the map. And no, there is that much to it. There's 3 different decks of cards that randomly appear, and
I think if you're new to board games or new to war games, this probably would be quite a confusing one. Although it's actually 3 or 4 quite simple games being played simultaneously, and it's playing them well simultaneously that is the key to winning.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do any one on its own without difficulty, but
you lose one game, you lose the lot.
So. The game is driven, or the engine of the game, or how the AI functions, is through the event deck, and all that happens is they start off relatively easy, get harder, and then get almost apocalyptic as the end of the First World War approaches. And I'll just hold one up for you there. You turn over the card and it tells you what's going to happen on that particular turn. We have a off-map battle taking place. These fronts will be advancing, and then it tells you how many actions you've got this turn. They're quite lucky here. They've got 3 actions with a combat bonus against the Russian front.
You normally don't get that much.
No, that's a good card. If you've got 1 action that turn, and you've got to decide if you've got the Russians and the British closing in on Constantinople, or the Anzacs have just landed by Gallipoli, or if you know that the British are going to try and invade for another one of the mini-games taking place, that's when it gets really tense.
You start having it's really
terrifying.
Shall we try to push back the Ruttons?
The Ruttons, yeah.
Shall we push back Bas Rutten, the UFC fighter? Shall we play to some mines or guns in the Narrows, in the Gallipoli Strait? Shall we give the V to the camera? That was clever.
It was, yeah.
Well, it's Churchill. I mean, it's later, but
good enough. No, he was right.
I'm still doing it.
Churchill's in this game.
Well, not. Oh yeah, he knows a peer, doesn't he?
He made the front cover and everything.
Look at him. He's like a little boy.
Yes.
Is that
looks like a baby.
Yeah. But so you've got so say you have one or 2 actions, and you've got 5 different things you actually want to do, and then you roll your dice to do it, and you fail anyway.
That's when it gets really tense.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately the game is actually won on the Turkish national will track. This is your victory points, your health points as such. It's actually the idea that keeping your people's morale flying is actually the real aim of the game.
Yeah, rather than... Yeah, because that's actually something you don't tend to watch while you're playing the game.
Yeah.
You realise that this little marker at the top is creeping up and down, and you can randomly lose for no fault, just through the way the cards come out.
Complexity-wise, I think if you've got any experience with either Ameritrash or wargaming, this is a breeze. There's no single mechanic here. It's quite hard. The rules are very clearly written. I was able to set up and start playing while referencing the rulebook after only 1 read through, and that's pretty impressive for a war game from a real war game company like Victory Point. And the components, I don't know if complexity is, if you've never played anything more than the Snakes and Ladders or chess, this may be a bit of a culture shock, but at the same time, I don't think there's anything Which
I'd say it's as complex as maybe playing a real simple, maybe playing checkers, snakes and ladders, and Snap all at the same time.
That's probably quite a good way.
Each in its own way, a pretty simple game to play, but trying to work out right. Well, on this game I'm looking for 2 aces. On this game I'm trying to move up the ladder down the. That's kind of what you.
I think if you certainly have an interest in the era, that would carry you through for sure.
Definitely.
And as for the era. I mostly know World War II. I know a little bit World War One. I would say World War II is my area. I know kind of as far back as World War One and a bit further forward up to kind of like Vietnam. He knows kind of what AD 465 to AD 467.
Yeah, roughly.
But not so hot on AD 466.
No.
And I knew virtually nothing about the historical setting of this
I've
game.
seen a little bit having.
Yeah, obviously. I was going to say this is kind of you. Ömer being of Turkish Cypriot descent, you probably have picked up some of this.
Yeah, it's more.
History.
It was more for me. It would be things like I'm trying to pick a place, Adana or Damascus or something like that, and hearing the name and then remembering a member of a family who went on holiday there and told me about a war memorial or something like that they'd seen, and it was picking up. And I've read Turkish history books, kind of work out my heritage and stuff.
So
I guess it meant a little bit to me as well. That way.
But to me, I mean, someone says a World War One game, straight away you gravitate towards France and the Somme. That's the pop culture notion of World War One. Is I had no idea about its front, and I found this game actually quite educational. I actually do know.
Yes, yeah.
You've played it we've probably played it about 10 times all in total before doing this review, and it's one of those war games you come away from feeling like you've actually learned something. Yeah.
Even today, I mean, this would be say the 10th time we played it, and you read out a card, and I went, I don't think we've had that one happen before.
Yeah.
So there's that. New
you actually get chunks of historical text at the bottom of each event card, which is really nice. Good for flavour, good for education as well.
I mean, the way we do it is shuffle it in. There is a way of playing where you can actually have the cards appear in the order that they happened chronologically.
I will say on that note, the variants in the rulebook are many and varied. They could, if Victory Point wanted to, they could have made an expansion pack out of the variants in the core rulebook. From playing everything in historical sequence to you can alter. I mean, something which happens frequently throughout the game is the Russian Revolution takes place, and the Russian front switches leaders and pushes back and forth, totally out of your control. You can remove that. You can have there's rules for adding German submarine warfare as a separate off-map encounter. You can even have a couple of forces flanking each other and joining forces as they're advancing on you. It's great. The stuff they've given you would be an expansion pack from someone like Fantasy Flight or Games Workshop. The components are superb.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've got two. You get 2 maps. If you prefer to play on a paper map like we have here with a sheet of perspex over it, the printing on that is superb. But there is a mounted jigsaw board.
It's a jigsaw piece made out of some lovely. And again, I don't know if we can see the edges of these, but these are the little. What are these? This is a minefield.
Yeah.
You see the little nice little things.
I love the little. Yeah.
And here's the thing as well, right? These don't break.
No, they're brilliant.
That's not just going to fall off.
It's a little minefield. There's a little bit of colour and chrome like that.
Yeah, it's just superb. Nice. But they're laser cut in the way that say foreground make like huts and things like that, and it's really really nicely done. It actually just looks like a little piece of cauterised wood, but it's just 2 bits of cardboard.
I would say and when it arrived, there was no. Sometimes when you're pushing components out, you get a bit of snag or a bit of loose bit. Nothing. Half of them just fell out the frame. I took it out board, just superb.
And there's a lot. I mean, I'm looking here. We've just kind of displayed this.
Actually, we're going to stick a link to the up so people can kind of see the game in action. If you're interested to see how the game moves, I'll show you everything in there. Score out of 10, I'm going to go so far as to give this an 8. The components are simply superb. It is very easy to pick up. Where the only area where it really loses a point to me is like all solitaire games, there's going to be a point where its longevity runs out. And I think once you've completed it, and I think we have one completion. You haven't.
I haven't.
Me and my brother had a tackle at it, and my brother managed to do it. I think once you've done it, it feels completed. Well, as I said, you have the variants and stuff you can pull out with. I would certainly be interested in seeing more games using this engine, and certainly seeing more from Victory Point Games. Yeah. How do you feel?
For me, I would probably go a little bit lower because it's a war game, it's not a combat game. Combat is that. That's it. That's a fight. There's no moving your better troops that way. There's no. It's simply fight this one, roll, we lose.
So the scale is. I mean, the scale is
this
unusual.
Is a resource management game.
Is a front.
Yes.
Yeah, you felt what it needed was a little more control.
No, not what it needed. The game plays beautifully that way.
Right.
This is not a combat game.
Okay.
This is a World War educational resource management, almost simulator. But if you want to imagine bullets flying and you want to see faces and you want to see heroes being made, not at all.
So if you're not interested on a squad level,
where, unfortunately, I'm more of a skirmish player. I'm more of that. So for me, it's more of a 6-ish. I really enjoy playing it, but I can't score it higher because that's my criteria. Is it crazy and is it imaginative? But it's certainly the most accurate game I've played in that way. It's a hell of
a blast to play.
Oh yeah.
There's a hint of the game which will bolt on the side of it as well, make it even bigger.
Which
looks to be good. So hopefully we'll see more of that soon. So that's we've got 7.5 on average out of 10 for us. It's a great little game. That is Ottoman Sunset: The Great War in Meads, 1914 to 1918, from Victory Point Games, and available now. Thanks very much.
You can pretend to be Turkish like I do. Hello.